kind of, after that game, when you lose that many guys on the D-line, you just kind of scratch your head a little bit and just, have to go back to the drawing board?
Coach reminds you all the time, it's our job as coaches that you put the best people on the field you have available and ask them to do what they can do. And it's kind of cold, but as far as preparing, you can't worry about the ones you don't have. And so it's their job to get healthy and get better. And right away, we just looked at who's the next best people we can put in there and what things can we do that they're capable of doing.
Is that next best person Steven Richardson? I mean, you expect his role to go up quite a bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be quite a few of them that's going to end up going up quite a bit. And so, Galen is going to get a few more reps, and Andrew's going to get a few more reps. And so there'll be Coach Phelps, as far as how they rotate, I leave it up to him. He works with them every day. But, we're going – those young kids, we don't have any other choice, and throw them in there, and they're more than capable of getting it done. We just got to give them in the right spots and teach them what to do.
Tracy, how did Richardson grade out, and just what have you seen from him since he got here?
He's a strong kid, plays well, and obviously has good pad level, but he's extremely strong, and he gets off the ball with a great first step. So he'll be just fine. You worry. At least you have a little bit of film to go off of. In the first game, that's just worry about playing young kids when you don't have any video to go off of. But at least there's some film here that helps the teaching out a little bit, and it's just still the best. Whether they're ready or not, it's the best teacher to get them ready for the Big Ten seasons, get in there and play. So they're going to get that opportunity to play.
Tracy, when you face so many teams that want to play offense with tempo, how does it change the way you practice or maybe prepare in terms of how you're going to be able to substitute?
We've never huddled since I've been defensive coordinator on defense. So that part of it doesn't bother me. That's part of the reason we did it, because we always believed that even when you huddled on defense, when people got in 2-minute and hurry up late in the game or late before the half, it just screwed up your communication so much that you might as well not huddle at all. So we've never huddled on defense. So that part of it's not so bad. You still, locating the substitutions. I will say this, the officials did you could tell that they've changed with the 8th officials, that when they substituted, they did hold the ball longer, to give you a chance to match the substitutions the other night. And but the biggest thing is when they don't change personnel and go right to the line, and it's hard to substitute people in for situations. Basically, whatever you have out there, you have to play with. And unless the ball goes out of bounds next to your boundary. And I thought Coach Phelps did a great job of that, of making sure we didn't substitute D linemen when the ball went out of bounds on the other side, because last year we got caught with 12 people on the field a couple times because of that. So it's weird. You have to pay attention to where the ball goes out of bounds and where it's at before you end up substituting people. But the good thing is about everybody's doing it. It's one of those things. Used to be you only see it 2-3 times a year, and you go, oh my, now everybody's doing it, so you get used to it.
When do you expect Keith to play again? And with Damian Wilson, did you feel like he improved a lot the last few games last season? Where do you see him now, Tracy?
Damian's better. There's no question. I still think he can play better than what he did the other night. So in that regards, he's better. He's a little lighter than he was last year, but that helps with all the no-huddle teams and spreading it out. So he'll continue to improve. So we're very pleased with where Damian's at. And you don't find too many people his size that run like he does. So we're pleased with him. Alex Keith, I'm not for sure when he'll get back. Like I say, Coach tells us it's not our job to worry about injuries. It's about getting the ones ready and get out there and play. And that's the truth, when he comes and says he's ready to go, he'll go. But I don't know how long that's going to be.
How did you end up grading out your secondary? There were a couple of times where it seemed that it's that bend don't break. Do you credit some of that to just more of the adjustments you guys had to make to their offense?
Well, again, when a new staff takes over, you can blame me at the beginning of it. We're just trying to figure out what the hell's going on, basically. Because you don't know what personnel they're going to do. You have no video, You give a little bit of ground. I will say this, though, is at the second play of the game, Damian should have intercepted it and would have scored 6 points. We dropped an interception there. But those people that get in that are in that offense now, and they do it because it's pretty simple for the offense, and they know what they're looking for and what throws they're looking for. And so, I thought, you know, I think they got like 60 of their yards on that first drive or something like that. But you know, this game still comes down to you got to cross the goal line, get points. It isn't about yardage anymore. And I think too much now you're judged on how much yardage you give up, and the bottom line is how many points do you give up. And so I was very pleased with secondary. Coach Savell does a tremendous job of getting those kids ready to play, and we're as athletic as anybody back there. And I think that's one thing that the game is forcing you to do with the speed up stuff and that, and some of the routes that people are running is you got to match it man to man to be able to effectively get it stopped.
Harold moved back after you found out about the injury to Scott, or was it before that?
No, afterwards, Harold moved back to D-line.
Do you expect him to, is it for depth, or do you expect him to play?
For depth purposes is really what it's for.
Middle Tennessee State's got a good crop of running backs. Do you feel like this game, with all the defensive line injuries, is a good test to see where you're at as far as stopping the run goes?
Yeah, they're still a one-back team, you know, so you're not good at, they run a little bit of power and do some, but they really spread the field a lot. So again, you know, that's not as hard to get young players for in the up front in the D-line as what a two-back power team is. And so, but they're very, the backs are good. They got enough skill to, they spread the field on you, and you're going to have to tackle in space. And if you don't make plays in space, it's going to be a long day. And so I thought the other night we tackled pretty good, except for on the quarterback scrambles. I thought we tackled pretty good, and we're going to have to tackle again in order to get it stopped. I mean, that's what the whole philosophy is. They're going to run a lot more screens and quick game this week than what we seen last week. And so we're going to have to make sure we have good leverage and tackle the ball.
Tracy, as much as these teams spread you out now, how often are you even in base?
How often what now?
Are you even in your base defense?
Oh, not very much. You know, is what you know. That's the thing. I think everybody started to at first just with your base defense, and you know, it's just you have to have players in there who can make space, and I think that's why the smaller linebackers you get away with a little bit. You know, 2 or 3 games you got to make adjustments, but the rest of the games those kids can play, and so it's changed the way that we recruit. I mean, it's changed everything, but that's the way the game's going nowadays.
Tracy, what about their
one or two more questions?
Tracy, what about their quarterback? He had a pretty good completion percentage the other night.
Yeah, yep. They did well, and you know the other thing about that is the next 2 games they're just as difficult to prepare for as the first one, because I'm sure that they didn't have to show everything that they're doing. They were pretty simple the other night in what they did, and they just executed really well and scored a lot of points, and so it'll be interesting to see what else they do. But coach has been there for a while, and they've done a nice job. They've been pretty consistent on offense with what they like to do. And then, you know, TCU's the same way, is that they played a game and they got this week off. So, you know, I mean, these next 2 games are still a little bit of being blind going into them. But, you know, that's having a veteran secondary that a lot of kids have played. It was easy the other night to make adjustments when we had to make them. And so hopefully that'll pay off here the next 2 weeks also.
Do we have one final question for Coach Claeys? Okay, thank you.
Very good.
We'll have,
Thanks, Joe.
Coach Limegrover here in a moment. He's ready to answer.
What stood out to you when you watched film of Leidner the other day?
What stood out? You know, I think his composure. He was wound pretty tight when the game started, which we were hoping wouldn't be the case, but ended up being the case. You know, he's such a competitive kid. I think he wanted to go out and win the Super Bowl in his first 5 throws, and eventually he got calmed down, and that's kind of how the whole offense went. We were able to get calmed down, get into more of a rhythm, and so overall that was a big positive. So hopefully we can maybe get him to run a mile before this game around the stadium or something, get him calmed down right from the beginning.
You think it's a beginning of the game thing, or is it the fact that it was the first game, it was a night game, all those factors that might have made him a little bit?
I think it was the beginning of the first game that was a night game, and you know, I mean, you got to be realistic. There's no matter how you try and deflect it, there's a lot of pressure on the young man. You know, he's the guy. You know, we've stated that. Everybody knows that. So anytime you're a competitive kid, you're in that situation, I think you're going to want to go out and do everything exactly right. And so it's been a good learning experience for him, and so we're going to move forward with that.
How did you feel about, you know, just pass blocking wise, especially on the O-line? How did you feel that was a big point of emphasis for you? How did you feel that?
not as good as what it needs to be. You know, I give Eastern Illinois some credit. They threw some things at us that, you know, first game, having to try and prepare for everything always gets you a little bit. I was hoping we'd be able to handle a little bit better. There were a few breakdowns that I think the guys, as soon as it happened, they realized it. And once we were kind of able to get a feel for what they were trying to do, it helped us tremendously to be able to get those guys over the sideline. So, okay, take a deep breath. Here's what, you know, here's how they're trying to attack us. Here's what we need to do. And we're able to settle in a lot better as we went along.
Are you expecting to put Ben Lauer back in there, or you feel like you're comfortable with that starting five you had on Thursday?
You know, I think a big thing is that, you know, as long as Coach Kill and I have been together, we've always tried to have 5 guys and go with 5 guys up front. But, you know, there's some things that have changed since we've gotten here. And you know, if you get to 6 or 7 or 8 guys you feel comfortable playing, I think that helps you in the long run. I liked what happened last year with Ben playing about 35 plays a game and Eddie Olson playing about 35. And, you know, so that's something we're toying around with. You know, there's been a couple of the young guys who have had a couple good weeks of practice, so we'd like to roll through there and get involved with that. And so Ben's a guy, when we feel like he's 100% healthy, which he's awful close to being, and he feels good, we're going to get him back in there. He's a good player. So.
When Mitch starts to run, it looks like he looks for contact. Can you coach that out of him, or how do you handle this?
We're trying. We're trying, you know, because he's a kid. I think that's, you know, that's in his nature. And so, you know, I think there's a lot of it when you see a quarterback, you know, run and maybe slide before contact or run out of bounds and not get an extra yard or two. You know, I think that's something that isn't in his, you know, his DNA. So you've got to really work with him constantly on that, a bigger picture. You know, no one's going to think less of you if you step out and don't gain that extra yard, but you don't get hit by 3 defenders as well. So we're working on that all the time, because he is valuable when he can, you know, if he's breaking the pocket in a pass or you know, there's something in a zone read and he's running the football. But at the same time, he's no good to us. Those extra 3 or 4 yards are minuscule in relation to him being out on the field for that next play, that next series, and that next game. So, you know, we talk to him about that constantly, and Coach Kill at the beginning. So,
What are the emphasizing on the passing game coming up?
you know, getting really what we've been working on since really back in January, what the kids have been working on. Like I said, I think Mitch got a little bit unsettled because there was some disruption up front, people at his feet early on, and so we got a little bit out of rhythm. But there's a core amount of passes. Play action, obviously, is something we were able to get to as we went along, be able to max protect to get some play actions in there. And then the biggest thing is just when he goes back to throw, the things that we've been working on over and over again, it's just that comfort level. And that's an 11-man job. That isn't up to Mitch or only the O-line or the wide receivers. That's everybody involved. And so, as always, that's something that you stress and you work on, and you try and give them as many of those kind of looks during the week, all of them, all 11 of them, to try and get that comfort level as high as possible.
So he was trying to get, he was disappointed he didn't get the ball to KJ May a little more.
Yeah. Yep, and you know, that I think that comes with what they're giving you, and you know, there were some times where I think he looked back on it and said, you know what, that's what they gave me, and that's what I needed to get to a little bit sooner. And you know, you like the fact that he's able to look at that and say, okay, these are the mistakes I made. These are you know, this was the blind spot I had in this game, and move forward and don't make that again. You know.
With Berkeley, is he big enough, strong enough now to be in every down back, get 15+ carries in a game? Is that something he's got to maybe change into a little bit, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the nice thing is with the group of running backs we have, he doesn't have to be that. You know, in a given game, maybe that situation presents itself, but you know, we don't have to sit here and go, hey, it's Berkeley or bust at running back. And so, you know, we'd like to increase his workload every week a little bit and get him more involved, because, you know, everybody in here who saw the game understands that you know, he's a one-touch and that thing can be over in a hurry. So that's a nice problem to have. But then again, you know, we've got David Cobb that want to make sure that he's a guy. The more you give him the ball, the better he gets, and he needs his carries. And you got your bruiser and Roderick Williams. So fortunately, we don't have to ask Berkeley to be that guy, that 18, 20 carry. But we want to make sure that when he does get his touches, that we're maximizing those opportunities for big plays for him.
Matt, you've worked with a lot of quarterbacks. What is the intangible that you're looking from Mitch to not be wound up? Is there something that you look for, knowing that he's taken that next step into being comfortable?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is you love the fact that he is so competitive. So now it's a matter of, you know, you're not poking him with a cattle prod to, hey, get in there and get these guys going, be the leader, that type of thing. You're almost pulling the reins back a little bit. And so I think that's just something that comes with time. That you know, everything that we've kind of talked about during this time is leading up to just that maturing process of, okay, you know, the one interesting thing that people don't really think about is that, like I said, you know, Thursday night it was Mitch's show. You know, even when he was starting last year, there was still, okay, you know, what's the reason why is he starting? Is another guy hurt? Is it this? Is it that? Now it was an unquestioned thing, and I think he really wanted to jump out, and he wanted to, you know, he wanted to win the national championship, you know, first 3 throws of the game. And so with that in mind, I think that was a great learning experience for, hey, take a deep breath. It's going to be a long game. There's going to be some highs and some lows, and you know, be that captain of that steady ship. So that's huge moving forward, especially going into this week.
Is that the key that you think with this offense, is just trying to get this group to get those fast starts? Because that's something you guys have struggled with the last couple of years, is getting going in those first couple of drives. Yeah,
you know, and it's always, you know, you'd much rather, you know, be up 14-0 after your first 2 drives, of course. So that's always the challenge. And you know, we're always looking at different things. You know, we script up a series of starters, series of plays, saying, okay, here's what we really feel is going to be successful. Here's what, you know, how we think they're going to react to it, and you know, that's always you know, you want to make sure the guys feel comfortable with it, and so we're continuing to do that. And I think it does come down to really, you know, the guys feeling comfortable, going, hey, good or bad, let's see how this thing goes. Let's get going, and let's you know, let's get on the fast track.
We have time for one more question for Coach Limegrover.
Going back to Thursday, Mitch ran the ball only 7 times. Is that a number you want to keep him at, or how do you assess his decision-making in running the ball?
Oh, I thought his decision-making was excellent. You know, I've said right from the beginning, we're not going to have 30% of our game plan quarterback run anymore. We're getting away from that, and feel like we've got not only one running back, but a number of running backs and some other guys that in the run game, you know, with the jet actions and the fly sweeps and things, we can get the guys and get the ball in different guys' hands. So it doesn't have to be quarterback centered nearly as much as it was. So we felt like that was a good number. I can't say it's going to be 7 every week. Could be 4 one week, could be 11 another. But you know, we want him upright and want him, you know, being our quarterback, and so. That's an important factor as we move forward, for sure, is making sure that we're not intentionally putting him out there more than we need to, more than what fits in what our bigger game plan is.